and welcome into the Dynasty 365 show on the Fantasy and Frames podcast. And we are officially back to get you ready for the NFL draft and all of your rookie and startup drafts. I am joined today by my co-host Bill Mustafa. Bill, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Looking forward to getting the running backs all wrapped up and putting a bow on the position.
Good. And I tried to get the pronunciation right this time.
Appreciate it.
I'm also joined by Stacy Perez. Stacy, it's good to have you. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. You know, it's been a week. It's only Wednesday, so I am so ready to talk some fantasy football with you guys.
Yes, I have been feverishly watching running backs, and I am very ready. But before that, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel at Fantasy and Frames, and you are following the Fantasy and Frames podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on whatever third world podcast platform that you might listen to. Because all of them are on the Fantasy and Frames podcast. The Shoot the Gap, the Daily Fix, and Fourth and Frames are mothership. So, I was going to try to get Derek Carr in here again. And you know what? You know who's swiping right on Derek Carr? It's going to be the New York Jets. New York Jets. I don't know if you heard some of the news, but the New York Jets feel that Derek Carr would be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he came to New York. And I did not make that up.
Jets. That's so New York Jets.
That was a real tweet that I read today from a reputable source.
Oh.
In what? Like, he'd have to win a Super Bowl with the Jets. Maybe two to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, he'd have to win 2 Super Bowls with the Jets.
Like, would they have to be back-to-back Super Bowls too?
Yeah, probably.
No, just 2. Hey, you know what? If we're arguing about this, I think regular season quarterback, I would rather have Derek Carr than Eli Manning. And he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, apparently.
Fairs. Yeah, you're right. You are right. I agree. I do agree.
Well, I prefer Peyton to Eli, so yeah, I'll take that. I'll agree with that.
The only people that prefer Eli to Peyton live in New Jersey.
That's very true.
I thought you were going to say we're like his immediate family.
No, his immediate family all prefer Cooper Manning. He's
That's
the
true.
favorite.
Yes, yeah. He's great in those commercials.
He is the oldest.
He's the eldest. Yeah, eldest is always the favorite.
That's true. So we're going to get into our final group of running backs here. If you want to hear about any of these running backs, you can go back 2 episodes where Bill and Jorge covered Bijan Robinson, Roschon Johnson, Tank Bigsby, Devin Achane, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Zach Evans. Or you can listen to last week when Bill, Stacy, and I covered Eric Gray, Sean Tucker, Israel Abanikanda, Mohamed Ibrahim, Kenny McIntosh, and Chris Rodriguez. And you know what? I don't think I'm going to tell you exactly everyone we're covering today, so you're just going to have to listen to find out. The measurements we have right now, if we're going to read them off, are from Player Profiler. Most of these measurements cannot be believed until the Combine. However, we did verify some at the Senior Bowl, and we will get to those. So take the measurements with a grain of salt and pay attention to the Combine, which is next week. Is that right?
Isn't that soon?
Am I making that up? It's in the next 2 weeks. So it's coming up fast. The players are heading to Indianapolis and going to get a good once-over by every doctor in the Midwest.
I'm excited.
Yes.
For the combo. I'm excited for some of these weigh-ins, that's for sure.
Yeah, we need height, we need weight, we need speed for these running backs. Because I know some of these guys can look like they break away on tape, and they're breaking away against Georgia Southern, and they really run a 4.58 or something.
Dwayne McBride. What? Sorry.
Well, you know what? I don't want to start the show on that note, so I'm not going to use that lead into Dwayne McBride. What I am going to do is give Stacy the opportunity to have herself a drink and talk about her buddy Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pronounced Charbonnet, not unlike the glass of Chardonnay that I have here with me. You know, like a Chardonnay is kind of a smooth, buttery glass of wine. Not at all like my boy Zach Charbonnet. Okay, he's more like a shot of wild turkey. All right. He is 6'2", 215 pounds from UCLA. And for those of you who are out there saying those California boys are soft, he's a transfer from Michigan. So he's got a little bit, that Midwestern in him. He ran for 1,358 yards last year, 14 touchdowns, 37 receptions for 320 yards. What I saw about Zach Charbonnet was that after a tackle, he's going to fall forward. He's going to get every inch of yardage that he can, and he's averaging about 4.15 yards after contact. So something that I also noticed was that he's got just really great vision. He's wasting no time running side to side. He's going north to south. And when those defenders are coming after him, they're just bouncing off of him. Something else that I did notice was that he's just got this really special stutter step. And I kind of thought that if Kyle Brandt, from Good Morning Football, gave that angry run scepter to college players, Zach Charbonnet would have definitely won a few. He's just not afraid to go after defenders, force them to take him down, if they can. He's just like a bulldozer. And there was one game specifically against, I think it was Arizona, where, they're down there at the goal line, he's running it in. Quarterback didn't even get his hand back fast enough. And Charbonnet just said, come on, man, you're going in with me, and just pulled him right into the end zone. So this is a dude who is strong. He's aggressive. He's got a really nice developed patience that's just going to wear down defenses. And that is why I just love me some Zach Charbonnet. Love this guy.
And I agree with you on the tough runner. I mean, he's a big boy.
Yes.
He is going to lower his shoulder. He's not afraid of contact.
No.
My main concern with him was jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's going to be good enough at one facet of the game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's definitely going to be, he's going to be drafted by a team. They're going to give him some chances to get in there and see what he can do. So I like that. I think so. I mean, I think he'll have the opportunity to really show off what he can do and make a big difference for, whoever drafts him. So really, really high on Mr. Charbonnet, as you'll hear later in some of my rankings.
Ooh, spicy. I cannot wait to hear where you have Mr. Chardonnay.
He reminds me a little bit of AJ Dillon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I love AJ Dillon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The career RB2 who hasn't had a significant fantasy season.
Oh, that's a Packer fan. That just hurt my heart, guys. Like, shots fired.
The truth hurts, Stacy. I'm sorry.
Man. Well, I'll forgive you guys. It'll be okay. We'll get past it.
All right. Thank you. So the next guy we're going to cover, Bill, I know you really like this guy, and he is pretty much the antithesis of Zach Charbonnet. Tyjae Spears from Tulane. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, so when we finished recording last week and we sat down and we mentioned some of the guys we were going to talk about this week, and Tyjae Spears' name come up, I may have called him a slightly faster Devin Singletary, maybe. Maybe checks out. I take that back. I take it back. Now I've sat and watched the film a little bit more. He's a guy that I like. I really like out of this class. I think he's a top 5 guy in the class. Last year over 1,500 yards. Going for nearly 7 a clip. 21 touchdowns. 21 total touchdowns. So the guy knows where the end zone is, but I find, looking at stats is great. Looking at how many yards he picked up is great. But let's get the film on and let's see if we can see a skill set that translates to the next level. And with Tyjae Spears, he's a guy that I look at and think that everything that he does well, some of the best running backs in the NFL do well also. This is a guy that's got track speed. Like, he is legitimately quick. I'm interested in seeing what he runs at the combine, seeing what his 40 time is, because on tape, he runs away from everybody. Great vision to go with that speed as well. He's got an amazing ability to change direction. Just bang, bang, bang. And that vision isn't linear. It's not that initial read the big boys up front and go through that hole. He's got the ability to read the second and third level defenders, and then he also has that change of direction ability to almost reroute himself on the run into space, which is, you know, a fantastic ability. We don't want running backs that run into contact like a certain Charbonnet that someone just spoke about.
Oh.
And I also like his ability when he's one-on-one with you know, a linebacker, a safety, a cornerback. He's able to put a move on. He's got loads of them in his wheelhouse. You know, my favourite, the plant and go. He's got that in his bag. He's got some spin move in his bag. He's also able to almost fold himself like a pancake while standing on 2 feet, going underneath a tackler, popping back up and running in for a touchdown. He's a guy I really, really liked. Some of the weaknesses, some of the things that you worry about when you watch his game, his size. He's not the biggest back, but I've been told that his weighing at the combine was 204. That's a great number, number for a guy like Spears. I want to see more of what he can do in the passing game. I want to see what his ability. I believe he has that open field ability that you want from a pass catcher, but what's his route running like? And what's his ability to command targets in the passing game and in obvious passing downs? And then obviously he suffered a torn ACL in 2020. Now, it's not affected him throughout his college career, especially last year was fantastic. But as these players get older, the wear and tear of the NFL, is that an injury that's going to come back to haunt him? Or is that an injury that's going to, you know, some teams are going to look at it and say, you know, he's got to slide down our board because of that injury concern? And obviously we know that draft capital is mega important when we're talking about running backs and fantasy. So there's some of the things I like about Tyjae Spears and some of the weaknesses I think he has in his game. What do you guys think?
Well, I was going to say, you just mentioned that ACL tear in 2020. So I had in my notes that what really impressed me about him was that even given that injury, you know, you'd see a lot of running backs, you know, you wonder, are they going to be hesitant to, you know, make those moves that they've got to make, you know, like plant their foot, cut and run? Are they going to be afraid to hit the gas? And I didn't see that at all with him. So that was really impressive to me that, you know, he had that injury, and that's not really something that I think you need to, you know, be worried about with him going forward. So, you know, just really, really thought that was a plus in his column.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He doesn't play like he's 2 years removed from a serious knee injury, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I really like him as well. Just to give some weaknesses. Honestly, my primary weakness was he looked a little small. And I wrote down, there's no way this guy is over 200 pounds. And then I did some deep Googling and figured out that he weighed in at 204.5 at the Senior Bowl. So he is, in fact, over 200 pounds. So he's got good size for a guy that's 5'9". Yeah, he's 5'9".
Yeah, 5'9".
Yeah.
He's short. Yeah. And that doesn't help. You know, he's short and he's not, you know, he's a guy, like you say, he doesn't look 200 plus pounds. So you look at him and you think, how's that going to translate to the NFL? But like you say, the weigh-in, he's over 200 pounds. And you know, not the combine, at the Senior Bowl, he didn't look any slower than he did when he was at Tulane running for a silly amount of yards. So I can believe that was his playing weight. And if that's so, he's got even more of a shot to impress at the next level.
Yeah, and I think he might get some knocks coming out, because I don't think his 40 time is going to be blazing. I think I saw him get caught from behind a couple times. I think he's going to be low 4.4s, high 4.5s. However, he goes from 0 to 60 in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Most of these guys need a little while to get going. He will stop dead, jump cut, and be 5 yards down the field before you blink.
Yeah. It's that ability as well, that when he's running at his top speed, he has the ability to stop on a dime, change direction, and that is worth, maybe, you know, it's worth more than running a 4.3 and not being able to stop and change direction quickly. Probably isn't worth as much as a guy that runs a 4.48 but can stop on a dime, change direction, and make guys miss whilst running at top speed. So yeah, a guy that seriously impressed me. I'm going to want to see the combine numbers, but so far so good.
Yes. Our buddy Jorge, the next great trio in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He's over here just pumping us up. What a nice guy.
I mean, he never lies.
Just keep it coming.
That's true. So the next one we're going to cover, I am going to go ahead and jump in on Kendre Miller from TCU. He right now his measurements are 6 foot, 214 pounds. A little light for being 6 feet tall. We'll see where he ends up at the combine. He's a young guy. He's an early declare. He's still not 21 years old. He had almost 1,400 yards on the ground last year. 6.2 yards per carry. He racked up 17 touchdowns on that TCU offense. And he added 16 receptions for 116 yards. They did not require a lot of him in the pass game, and he still managed to get 16 receptions. He does a good job of snagging the ball out of the air. He's not a body catcher. He actually is able to catch it with his hands, which gives you a big advantage when you're catching run and flare routes. You catch it with your hands and you turn up the field much faster. The other big things, he's a tough runner. He's going to be able to stand up to some of the punishment between the tackles in the NFL. And not only is he a tough runner, but he keeps his feet moving. And that's one of the biggest things with running backs that you see sometimes. Their feet will just kind of die out and they won't get a lot of yards. Whereas when you're keeping your feet chugging, you're getting that extra 1 or 2 yards. And he's capable of doing that. He hits his spots. He knows where his blocks are going to be. He has good vision. Kind of in the same vein as keeping his feet chugging. He doesn't create negative yards. He's not dancing. He gets upfield quickly. My notes actually say he knows when to get the F upfield. I'm trying not to curse. I don't want Jorge's grandmother to listen to this show and chastise him. The weaknesses that I had for him, oh man, I've lived in the Southeast for too long. I said Mike could put some more moves on when running the ball.
That's how we think you all speak.
It's only the Southeast, and I've lived too long. I've been in North Carolina, Kentucky, and Florida doesn't count as the Southeast. But I'm back in North Carolina, so there's the Mike could for you. He might could put some more moves on when running the ball, but he's still efficient. Sometimes that can be a plus when you're not trying to dance and you're not trying to do too much with the ball and you're just taking what's given. I did see him get caught from behind a couple times, so I'm a little concerned about his long speed, but he did get caught from behind by Kansas State, who was a pretty good team, but, I mean, he also got a 40-yard gain after running through some tackles. So, maybe he got a little tired.
Yeah, I think he's more quick than fast.
Yes.
That was what I got from tape. He's a guy who's got good burst, good acceleration, but he kind of dies a death after that initial output, which, at the end of the day, realistically, how many times is he going to be asked to, break a big one to the house? If you've got the ability to, then fantastic. But if you're picking up, 10, 20, 30-yard chunks, that's fine if you want to get a little bit tired and need to take a breather and get caught from behind, in my opinion. Big fan of Kendre Miller, a guy I liked a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, and my summary that I wrote up for him, I really like this guy, do it all back with good long speed, vision, and natural hands, even if he didn't get to show them too much. Mm-hmm. Could do to add some size onto his frame. Hope he puts on 5 pounds of muscle pre-combine, but he is going to be an immediate backfield contributor. He has the capability of walking in on day one and being a 10-carry guy behind a starter.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure. What's the update with his knee injury when he suffered against Michigan? Is there any news? I've not been able to find anything. I know obviously he missed the natty, but I couldn't find anything on the knee injury. Watching him play, watching the tape, it's amazing that a running back's got legs like Devonta Smith. But he runs. He runs a lot tougher than his legs look like they'll allow him to. I'll give him that.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, Bill. Stacy, do you have any thoughts on Mr. Miller?
I do. So the thing that I really liked about him was that his ability to really just extend the play. I just thought that he was great at avoiding those shoestring tackles. He wasn't, getting tripped up. He was having that ability to stay on his feet and keep going. And I really liked that about him, especially with those skinny little legs of his, right?
Did you notice how he always falls forward? Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always falls forward. Always picks up the extra 3 yards. Whatever, and I love that in a running back. That toughness. He's not the biggest guy in the world. Like he's 6 foot, around 215 is what they say he weighs in at. But we'll find out at the combine. But he runs very tough for a guy that size, and for a guy that's got the ability to break one and is as elusive as he is.
Yeah.
Yes. Man, he has a shot at coming in at 6 foot, like 217, 218. That would be huge for him.
Yeah, I agree.
So now that we covered some guys that we like, we're gonna do a little sandwich on this show. We're gonna hit some guys that we're not too hot on, and then we're gonna finish up with our top 5 rankings, and who knows, maybe we'll go beyond number 5. So, Bill, you teased this one a little earlier, Mr. Dwayne McBride. How are you feeling about him?
I just don't get it. I don't get the I've seen a lot of love for Dwayne McBride, especially on Twitter, in the community, if you like. I just don't get it. Like some of the things I did like about his game, I'm not just going to sit here and criticize the guy. I think he's got good short area burst, good acceleration through the first line of defense. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good part of his game. He's a strong runner. Good luck trying to bring him down with arm tackles. Like a little bit like I said about Chris Rodriguez, go and get your mate because you're going to need him to drag him down. He's a pretty big boy. 5'11", 215. He's a big compact back. He's got good contact balance. Like you try and bring him down, you've got to make sure you wrap him up and drag him down because he's going to just bounce off you. Keep moving, keep chugging them legs, and keep going forward. But the one thing that really stood out to me is that the level of competition, and he was getting 200-yard games against Georgia Southern and 150-yard games against UTSA, but even on a field with lower level athletes, he didn't look like a great athlete. You put on the tape against LSU, doesn't look great. 2.5 yards per carry against Georgia in 2021. Slightly better performance, but again, didn't look anything special. I don't think he has the top end speed necessary to be a successful NFL back. And the ball security is awful. This is a guy that fumbled 5 times last season. He's got 11 fumbles in the last 2 years. And again, he's not playing top tier talent week in, week out. And what can he do in the passing game? Because we've not seen any of it. For me, he's a one-dimensional back that lacks the athleticism and especially the speed to be an NFL contributor. I think he could potentially be in the future, but he's a developmental pick for an NFL team, and one that I'm probably not looking to draft outside of the 4th round in rookie drafts, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure he gets drafted.
Yeah, he had 29 total yards receiving for his entire career, not just last season, his whole career, 29.
Yeah. It's just I don't get the love. I don't know where it's come from.
Yeah. I was watching one game of his, and I heard the announcer say, this guy's got really good hands, and I was like, based off what?
Where are they?
I just watched him fumble a ball against Western Kentucky as he was trying to sweep it over a guy's head and it get returned for a touchdown, and he's had 2 receptions this entire year. Yeah. What are we looking at here?
I mean, either the commentator knows what he's looking at and we don't, or vice versa. Yeah. One of us is right.
Yeah. We'll see.
I like our chances.
Another guy that not a lot of people are talking about, so let's talk about him a little bit. Cameron Peoples from App State. Stacy, what do you think about him?
Yeah, so I hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but I'm going to be. So Cameron Peoples, senior coming out of App State, he's 6'2". I've seen 215 pounds. I've seen 225 pounds. Somewhere in the middle there. I guess we're going to find out, sooner rather than later. He's 23 years old. He's on the old end. He's going to be 24 once that season gets started. What I saw with his numbers, was that 2020 was by far his best year with 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns, and it just goes down from there. So 2021, he had 925 yards. 2022, 592 yards. I thought that was a mistake. I thought, surely this guy's been injured. I kept looking, trying to find Cameron Peoples' injury news. Couldn't find it. Well, it turns out there were 5 guys on the team with over 70 carries. So he's definitely not the guy at App State. So if he's not the guy at App State, where is he going to be the guy? And
he could be the guy at Cleveland, I guess. They're about as good as App State.
Oh, Jesus.
More shots fired. Tyler just over here catching strays. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and little to no usage in the passing game. So I don't really know what there is to recommend him other than anything more than a potential 7th round dart throw, if that. So sorry, Cameron Peoples. I'm sure you're a really great guy. I'm definitely not taking you in fantasy, and I don't know that the teams are going to be taking him in the draft either.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't like his hair.
Oh.
I mean, I don't like the fact that he runs bolt upright. He makes himself an easy target to tackle, especially if he does find himself in the NFL and you're running bolt upright. Not only are you going to be easy to tackle, you're only going to take a couple of hits from a linebacker, and you're going to decide very quickly to lower yourself a little bit. He's got awful vision, like it's awful. He just it's like he just stares at the butt crack of his center and runs there. I was pausing the tape and I'm screaming. I'm like, "How? If you don't hit this lane, I'm turning the tape off." And lo and behold, he didn't hit the lane, so the tape got turned off. No lateral ability. He just runs straight, dead straight. And if you happen to carve out a lane for him, he looks great. Otherwise, not for me.
No. Do you think he needs like LASIK, like Jameis had?
No, I think he just needs some looser hips.
Okay.
To just be a better athlete, to be honest.
It's all in the hips.
Some Happy Gilmore. I love it.
Yeah. We need Chubbs over there coaching Cameron Peoples.
Oh, poor Cameron. Sorry, Cameron.
Poor guy. I'm sure you're a great guy. I'm sure your mother's a wonderful woman. Anyway, Chase Brown.
He'll look good in the XFL.
Oh, yes. There's upside. There's silver lining for him.
There we go. All right, last one we're going to cover is Chase Brown from Illinois. 5'9", 215 pounds. Good size if that is actually his size. He's almost 23 years old, so he's a little bit older. He's stayed in college for 5 years. His 5th year was absurd. He put up 1,643 yards on 328 carries. Like this dude had a career.
That's abuse.
He had an entire college career in his 5th year as a senior. He also put up 27 receptions for 240 yards, and he totaled 13 touchdowns. So productive year. He did not have a lot of work on him before that 5th year. So, he evened out a little bit. Strengths I have listed for him. He's a contributor in the pass game. He looked pretty good catching the ball. He did catch it with his body sometimes, and like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that at the running back position. He hits the hole when it's there. He has some really nice bursts. That was one of my favorite things about him. If he can find a hole, or if the one is created for him, he's going to hit it and he's going to be gone. He might get caught from behind, but not before gaining 20 yards.
Yeah.
And next thing was one cut kind of guy, a lot of burst, would be good in his own run scheme. And he was one of the few running backs that I watched that was actually in the backfield blocking.
Tried.
Yeah.
He gives it a try.
He did. He got his physical form in the way of pass rushers.
He certainly did. I appreciated that he attempted and that he looked like he actually wanted to. He wasn't Sean Tucker in and running away from the blitzer. But the fact that he ended up closer to his quarterback because of it. He's a work in progress in that area, in my opinion. But again, another guy that I liked more than I thought I would. Don't know if he's going to be a full-time contributor, but I think he's a guy that can work in a rotation. I literally wrote on my notes, he looks like a Kyle Shanahan running back. He runs like a Kyle Shanahan running back. He's going to get drafted in the 5th round by the San Francisco 49ers. That's on my bingo card. I just want to make everyone aware that's on my bingo card. Really, how did you? I watched him play. That's the first thing I noticed was his patience at the line of scrimmage. That ability to wait, and then hit the hole. Wait, and then hit the hole. Something I saw as a weakness. I thought short yardage he struggled. I don't think he looks overly confident running between the tackles. I think he tries to sort of bounce more outside than maybe he should. Maybe that's even there. Kind of pick up the hard yards, pick up the hard 3-4 yards between the tackles instead of bouncing it outside and losing a couple. But yeah, I think we're going to see him on Sundays. I think he's going to be a solid contributor to an NFL backfield.
Yes. Yeah. He doesn't run sideways as much as Sean Tucker does.
Man, everybody's catching strays here tonight. Sean Tucker, AJ Dillon,
I love it.
Like Browns. Oh my gosh. So you mentioned Kyle Shanahan. So one of my rules for fantasy football is that you never ever trust Kyle Shanahan. You just don't. And I got to tell you though, something that is going to end up, or potentially could end up with Chase Brown being in the doghouse, whether it's he's goes to San Francisco or anywhere else, is those 5 fumbles that he had this year. That is not going to endear him to coaches at all. So if that's something that is a habit for him and keeps up, it could lead to some definitely not playing time for him. So that's just a worry that I've got for Chase Brown.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead,
Tyler. I was going to say, day 3 backs that fumble the ball don't tend to see the field too often.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he end up in that doghouse real fast.
I was just going to make a snarky comment of I really want Kyle Shanahan to put a human-sized doghouse on his sideline and literally put players in it when they piss him off.
Yeah, I mean that's where Brandon Ayuk ended up for forever. However many was that 2 seasons ago?
That killed me.
Yeah,
I literally wrote an article for Fantasy and Frames about how Brandon Ayuk was the week 1 wide receiver you had to start in your lineups. He's the guy. He's finished last season really well. He's had a great off season. Plays like 2 snaps.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be let go the day after. I was like, thanks, but yeah, no, stop writing for us now. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate your input. Go to hell.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was a miss. Sorry about that.
We could go on all day about all of our misses,
especially mine.
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of doing that, let's put a little bow on all these running backs. Mm-hmm. So we have now covered 18 running backs in this class. Mm-hmm. I hope we covered all the guys that are going to get drafted. I don't know if I'm sure there will be a random. I didn't even look at Tyrion Davis-Price last year. So I didn't know the guy existed until he got drafted in the 3rd round by the 49ers. So I'm sure a few of those will pop up. So let's cover our top 5 rankings. Stacy, why don't you start? Give us 5 and 4 for you.
5 and 4. Okay, good. Because the top 3 are pretty obvious. So that's not exciting at all. So my 4 and 5, I really went back and forth on this, and so here's what I came in with is 4. I picked Devin Achane for Texas A&M. He can really scoot. I really liked him. That was when I was watching his highlights. That was one of the things that really just jumped out at me for him was just how fast he was. And for 5, I took Roschon Johnson there from Texas. I really liked him. I thought, he's been playing with Bijan. They just I think he's going to be good as well. He had to share that backfield as well, but I really liked him. Really liked what he brought to the table, and so that's why I kind of put him in there at 5. I could probably, switch him in and out. I really like Kenny McIntosh too. So he was a guy that I was, trying to sneak in there as well, but he's probably a little bit further down. So my 4 and 5 are Devin Achane and Roschon Johnson.
All right, Bill, who's your 4 and 5?
Okay, so just quickly before I get into my 4 and 5, I've got to give an honourable mention. He started the week as my RB4 and somehow found himself out of the top 5 due to 2 of the guys that we spoke about earlier today. That's Zach Evans at Ole Miss, a guy I really like, and I think he's going to be a talented player on Sundays. But he just missed out at 5. A guy I spoke about earlier, Tajay Spears. I think he has the potential to be a serious game breaker at the NFL level. Just want to see where he comes in at weight wise. Is it going to be the same? Is he weighing in the same at the combine as he did at the Senior Bowl? And also what his 40 time is. And at 4, Kendre Miller, a guy I really liked. He was probably he was close to number 3 for me. He was up there. A guy I really liked, similar to Tajay Spears for me, in that I just think on Sundays he can be a bit of a game breaker.
Love it. So I'm going to jump in with you and give my honorable mention. My honorable mention was Eric Gray out of Oklahoma. He was one of the first running backs I watched, and he just stood out to me. He was it. And I say sometimes jack of all trades, master of none. I feel like Eric Gray is very, very above average at every single asset of the game. He can run, he can catch, he can block. He's good at all of them. He's not losing yards. He's getting upfield. He has speed. So I'm excited to see where he lands and if he gets a good opportunity. That said, we had the same number 5, Bill. We had Tajay Spears. The dude's just dynamic. I mean, I kind of already spoke about him a little bit, but this is one of my favorite draft lingos. He's quicker than a hiccup. I hope his body can stand up to the beating of an NFL game, but with the way NFL teams manage running backs, is you have to be a freak show to be a true bell cow. You have to be a guy like Saquon Barkley. You have to be a Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. Like, if you're not one of those just absolute aliens, like you're not getting 20 plus carries a game. You're just not. So I think you can be productive, and especially in the pass game. Number 4, I have Israel Abanikanda out of Pitt.
Ooh.
And I didn't think I liked him as much, and I kept watching him, and the dude just takes off, man. My favorite thing about running backs is when they don't create negative yards, and he does not create negative yards. He will damn near refuse to lose any yards on a carry. And he is so fast. He runs so strong. He a little bit upright at times, but doesn't really matter if they're not going to touch him.
Yeah.
So
this is the thing. Is just quickly, people were talking about a guy like Tank Bigsby being one of the bigger, more physical backs in the class. If you look at Izzy's size, he's a little bit taller and he weighs about the same. And what comes with that size is legit track speed. I think the guy's a stud, man. I think the guy's a stud.
Yeah.
So, Bill, who's your 3?
My 3 is touchdown Izzy. At least I started watching the games with a commentary on, and that's what I thought he was called, because that's all the commentators were saying was touchdown Izzy, touchdown Izzy, touchdown Izzy. Israel Abikanda. If there's anyone out there that has him higher than RB3, you can control the bandwagon. But for the moment, I'm driving the thing. All right. I love the guy. I want him to be a Buffalo Bill badly. And I'm hoping that none of my league mates see this show, so they don't know who he is. That's my hope.
There you go.
He's awesome. He is my first draft crush. He is. I love the guy.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, let me ask you this on the Bills: is he going to be the RB1 or 2? 1. Okay.
Ooh.
1. Have James Cook play it. James Cook in the slot a little bit. Have him out have them both out there on 3rd down. And then let Josh Allen run the ball. Izzy, I think Izzy comes in. I think you see his speed, you see his size, and teams are going to go, Jesus, we've just found ourselves RB1.
No, maybe Izzy will be the difference between the Bills failing in the playoffs again this year. We'll see.
Oh, I doubt it.
Oh.
Bills and failing in the playoffs it's like Romeo and Juliet. It's made to be. Unfortunately for me.
At least you didn't spare your own team, Bill.
Yeah, no, everyone can get some. Everyone can get some.
I tried to throw some shade, and Bill just tripled down. So, Stacy, who's your number 3?
Oh, come on, guys! You know exactly who my number 3 is. Mr. Chardonnay is my number 3. That he's my draft crush. Absolutely. I just love this kid for all the reasons that just ad nauseum I've already said. But yeah, he's coming in at 3 right behind Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. So I just love him. I love him so much. I can't wait to see what he does.
All right. I like that. I think I have him at 7 or 8. So I don't dislike him.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Okay, that's fine. That's okay.
Hey,
I'll believe in him. It's fine.
Someone's going to have to.
Yeah. Oh, man.
His mother believes in him, all right?
He does. His mother and me. The two of us. Yeah.
So, number 3 for me is Kendre Miller. I've already covered him on this pod, but he's a really good all-around running back. I think it's another guy kind of in the same vein as Eric Gray that I talked about. He's really, really above average at everything, and he might be really good at catching the ball. I think he has a real shot at being good at that, so I'm excited to see where he lands. I think we all have the same one too, right?
Yeah, Bijan and Jahmyr.
So.
Yeah.
Bijan at number 1, Jahmyr Gibbs at number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot to say about Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I watched 2 games of him, and I didn't even take a second to write any notes down. And at the end, I just wrote on his strengths. He's the one.
Yeah, he's as advertised. As advertised, I think is the best way to describe him.
Yeah.
Everything you've heard, everything you think he is, he is. He runs the ball like Saquon Barkley. He catches the ball at the backfield like Christian McCaffrey. He is who we believe he is. Who people say he is. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got the number 1 overall pick in one of my dynasty teams, which tells you just how great they were last year. But I'm just so excited to take Bijan. I just can't wait. So if you guys, my league mates are out there listening, I'm not trading that number 1 pick this year. It's not happening.
Back off. Get out of my DMs. Stop it with the trade offers.
Exactly. All mine.
I offered the 102, the 201, and the 212 to move up to 101 in one league. Yeah.
They take it?
It's still been sitting there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They left you on red. Oh.
Yes, exactly. He even responded to me. He said, "Oh, it's a good offer. Let me think about it." Nothing.
Just he's gonna go on YouTube, type in Bijan Robinson. He's gonna decline it so quick.
Exactly.
Yes. And I would be remiss if we didn't cover Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit. My main concern about him is he is a small guy. He's listed at what's he listed at? Crap.
I think they list him at 200 now.
Yeah.
But he's not. I don't think he's 200 pounds.
Yeah, his BMI is like 27 point something, which if you pay attention to kind of, there's one guy I cannot remember. Oh, Jax Falcone on Twitter. I got to give him a shout out because he works his butt off doing this stuff. He does anatomy of a dynasty running back or a top 12 or top 16 running back, and over 90% of these RB1s have come into the league with a BMI of 30 or higher.
Okay.
So if he is super successful, he will be an outlier. But he looks like an outlier to me.
Yeah. How do we feel? How do we feel if he weighs in at 200 pounds and runs 4.33?
Give me 200 pounds. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Anything with a 2 in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for because I really like Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's Alvin Kamara minus the assault charge. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him on Sundays.
Well, hopefully he goes to a team that's going to utilize him better than the Saints do with Alvin Kamara. So
The Saints didn't know how to utilize anything except cap space.
No. That's the one thing they're very good at. The notes that I had next to you, my notes here for Jahmyr Gibbs is just like, he can scoot. There you go.
Yeah. That's enough.
Yeah.
He's Tyjae Spears on steroids.
Ooh, okay. But not really. Not really.
Not really. He's a new and improved version of Tyjae Spears. No PED talk on this podcast.
He'll be getting that drug test notice before he even makes it into the league.
Yeah, how do you think DK's drug test went?
Oh my gosh. I had to watch that video. I don't know how many times I watched it, but that man is a freak of nature. Like, I just remember him chasing down Buda Baker, however many it was 2 years ago now, and that will forever stick in my mind of DK Metcalf. Like, I showed that video to people who could not even care less about football, just to be like, you have to see this. This is amazing. But
I have to say, DK Metcalf come to mind when I was doing my rankings, only because I was debating where to put Touchdown Izzy and where to put Kendre Miller. And I thought, you know what? Sometimes when the 6 foot plus stud that runs like Usain Bolt is in front of you, you just take the guy. Yeah. You don't wait for the second round. You don't mess around. You just take the unicorn athletic freak. And DK Metcalf is the guy that comes to mind when I think of athletic freak unicorns, apparently.
Yeah.
That's probably a good guy to think of.
That's the best way to think of him. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and land this plane. Stacy, can you tell everyone where they can find you on Twitter and what you're working on right now?
Absolutely. So right now I'm working on a couple profiles for the rookie running backs that we're going to be putting out just as kind of like little standalone videos I'm working on. I worked on an Eric Gray one earlier, working on a Kenny McIntosh one coming up. But you can find me on Twitter at Stacy_Perez83.
There you go. Bill, same question to you, man.
Yeah, so again, working on the rookie player profiles. I've already done Jamar Gibbs, already done Zach Evans, already done Roschon Johnson. I'll be doing Zach Charbonnet, although I might pass it off to Stacy if she's interested. I'll
fight you for him.
Tank Bigsby, Kendre Miller, and then I'll start moving on to some different position groups. Looking forward to getting stuck into Jalen Hyatt, Will Levis, and some other guys as well. You can find me on Twitter at Bill_Mustafa.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at FFTylerHeil. That's Heil, because no one on this earth can spell it correctly outside of Germany. And I am going to continue to work on this podcast. I am signed up for some player profiles, if I could say it, later this year once we get through all of this film watching for... I haven't quite decided what position we're doing next. We'll have to figure that out next, but, there's only 3 more, so... Take your pick. And thank you for listening to the Dynasty 365 show. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the Fantasy and Frames podcast, and please go on to YouTube, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share. And thank you for sticking around. And please join us next week for the to be determined group number 1 of the next position.